Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. A Merry Christmas to all those celebrating it around the world. All right then, coming up in the next hour. India celebrates Good Governance Day, coinciding with the 99th birth anniversary of the country's former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. India's Minister of External Affairs Subramaniam Jaishankar is in Moscow on a 5-day visit to Russia for talks on bilateral and global issues. Prime Minister Modi greets people on Christmas, recalls the teachings of Jesus Christ, interacts with Christian community in New Delhi. The world celebrates Christmas in different colors and shades, and merrymaking abounds while the Pope delivers a solemn sermon for world peace. And India all set to face South Africa at Centurion for Boxing Day Test match. Dean Elgar to play his last 2 tests of his career. December 25th marks the 10th anniversary of India celebrating the Good Governance Day. After Prime Minister Narendra Modi came to power in the year 2014, he declared the country's former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee's birth anniversary on 25th December as Good Governance Day. The next report delves into the history and thought behind the celebration. Take a look.
India's President Draupadi Murmu led the nation in paying tribute to the country's late Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee on his 99th birth anniversary. President Murmu offered floral tributes at the memorial in honor of the late Atal Bihari Vajpayee in New Delhi. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar and Prime Minister Narendra Modi also paid floral tributes to the late leader. Tributes were similarly paid to the late Prime Minister at the country's parliament. India celebrates the birth anniversary of the late Atal Bihari Vajpayee as Good Governance Day. The day is celebrated on the 25th of December every year to foster awareness among the people of the country about accountability in governance and government. The first Good Governance Day was celebrated in 2014. Prime Minister Modi had spoken at the time about why his government chose to celebrate the late Atal Bihari Vajpayee's birth anniversary as Good Governance Day. He said, and I quote, "Good governance is the key to a nation's progress. Our government is committed to providing a transparent and accountable administration which works for the betterment and welfare of the common citizen. Citizen first is our mantra, our motto, and our guiding principle. It has been my dream to bring government closer to our citizens so that they become active participants in the governance process. An important step for good governance is simplification of procedures and processes in the government so as to make the entire system transparent and faster. The push towards self-certification in place of affidavits and attestations is another indicator of the relationship of trust between the citizens and the government. Doing away with cumbersome and outdated legislations which no longer have relevance is another focus area. Our government considers redress of public grievances as a very important component of a responsive administration. I strongly believe that technology can and must bridge the divide between the government and the citizens. Technology is an empowering tool for the citizens and an accountability medium for the government. My government fully recognizes the huge potential of this tool. Digital India aims to transform the country into a digitally empowered society and a knowledge economy. Proposed to be implemented in phases, Digital India is transformational in nature and would ensure that government services are available to citizens electronically. It would also bring in greater accountability through mandated delivery of government services electronically." End quote. 2023 marks a decade of celebrating the Good Governance Day. In the last 10 years, India has made rapid strides in harnessing technology for the benefit of people. India's digital public infrastructure has become a role model for the world. Bureau Report, DD India.
India's President Draupadi Murmu attended an evening of devotional hymns and songs that were quite a favorite of the former Prime Minister, the late Atal Bihari Vajpayee, on his birth anniversary in New Delhi. The President also inaugurated a photo exhibition on the occasion. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and other dignitaries were present on the occasion. India is also observing the 162nd birth anniversary of freedom fighter Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi released the first series of 11 volumes of the collected works of Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya in New Delhi on Monday. The works, being released in both Hindi and English in 11 volumes spread across 4,000 pages, is a collection of the writings and speeches of Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya collected from every nook and corner of the country. The Prime Minister stressed the importance of the collected works of Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya for the young generation and research scholars.
महामना जैसे व्यक्तित्व सदियों में एक बार जन्म लेते हैं और आने वाली कई सदियों तक हर पल हर समय उनसे प्रभावित होते हैं। भारत की कितनी ही पीढ़ियों पर महामना जी का ऋण है। वो शिक्षा और योग्यता में उस समय के बड़े से बड़े विद्वानों की बराबरी करते थे। वो आधुनिक सोच और सनातन संस्कारों के संगम थे।
The Prime Minister said that it is the privilege of the government to confer the Bharat Ratna upon the Mahamana.
नेशन फर्स्ट, राष्ट्र प्रथम के संकल्प को सर्वोपरि रखा। वो देश के लिए बड़ी से बड़ी ताकत से टकराए। मुश्किल से मुश्किल माहौल में भी उन्होंने देश के लिए संभावनाओं के नए बीज बोए। महामना के ऐसे कितने ही योगदान हैं जो संपूर्ण वाङ्मय के 11 खंडों के जरिए अब प्रामाणिक रूप से सामने आएंगे। इसे मैं अपनी सरकार का सौभाग्य समझता हूं कि हमने उन्हें भारत रत्न दिया।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairperson paid tributes to Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya at the Central Hall of the country's Parliament. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, BJP National President JP Nadda and others paid floral tributes too. A youth delegation from the Northern Indian Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir attending the program Watan Ko Jano, or Knowing the Nation, called on India's President Draupadi Murmu at Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi. The President said that the purpose of the program is to make the participants aware of the country's art, culture, civilization and development work taking place in the country. The President also encouraged the youth present there to take advantage of the development efforts taken in Jammu and Kashmir by the government to fulfill their dreams. She also asked them to believe in the fair opportunities that democracy provided everyone. Moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with the Christian community in New Delhi. He highlighted the community's role in nation building. Fuzail Ahmed has more.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday hosted eminent members of Christian community at his residence in New Delhi on the occasion of Christmas. Recalling Jesus Christ's message of compassion and kindness, Prime Minister noted that these ideals work as a guiding light for the country's development journey.
क्रिसमस वो दिन है जब हम जीसस क्राइस्ट के जन्म को सेलिब्रेट करते हैं। ये उनकी लाइफ मैसेज और वैल्यूज को भी याद करने का अवसर है। जीसस ने करुणा और सेवा के मूल्यों को जिया है। उन्होंने एक ऐसा समाज बनाने के लिए काम किया जिसमें सबके लिए न्याय हो और जो समाज समावेशी हो, इंक्लूसिव हो। हमारे देश की विकास यात्रा में यही मूल्य एक गाइडिंग लाइट की तरह हमें रास्ता दिखा रहे हैं।
Prime Minister also highlighted Christian communities' role in nation building, spanning from healthcare to education, noting that youth can play key roles to make India a developed nation by 2047. Prime Minister urged those associated with education and healthcare sectors to raise awareness towards fitness among youth.
2047 तक विकसित भारत बनाने का जो लक्ष्य है, इस लक्ष्य के साथ हम अपनी विकास यात्रा को तेज गति से आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं, लगातार कोशिश कर रहे हैं। इस विकास यात्रा में हमारे सबसे महत्वपूर्ण साथी अगर कोई हैं तो वो हमारे युवा है। निरंतर विकास के लिए ये बहुत आवश्यक है कि हमारे युवा फिजिकली, मेंटली और इमोशनली फिट और हेल्दी रहें। इस उद्देश्य से चलाए जा रहे कई अभियान जैसे फिट इंडिया, मिलेट्स का उपयोग, न्यूट्रिशन पर फोकस, मेंटल हेल्थ के प्रति जागरूकता और ड्रग्स के खिलाफ अभियान जन आंदोलन बन चुके हैं। मैं क्रिश्चियन कम्युनिटी के लीडर से, विशेषकर जो एजुकेशन और हेल्थ केयर इंस्टीट्यूशन से जुड़े हैं, उनसे आग्रह करूंगा कि वो इन विषयों के प्रति लोगों को और जागरूक बनाएं।
The event was attended by prominent members of Christian community from various sectors. They hailed government's initiative to bring a transformation in the country. They also lauded government's initiative, including national education policy, Khelo India, and India's push for concerns of Global South at G20 summit.
Your vision with regard to the national education policy has been both local and global, focusing on what is most essential. The NEP has laid tremendous focus on school education, and this is exactly what should have been done.
Former Indian athlete and two-time Olympian Anju Bobby George noted transformation the country has seen in sports in recent years.
When I got India's first global medal 20 years back, even my department was not ready to give a promotion. They were saying it's not in there. But after when Neeraj got a medal, I have seen the changes, sir. A lot of changes, the way how we are celebrating, how you are celebrating, sir, how all India is celebrated.
In his speech, Prime Minister also recalled his meeting with the Holy Pope a few years back. Prime Minister said that they had discussed several topics, including climate change, inclusive development, social harmony, global brotherhood, and how to make this earth a better place. Fuzail Ahmed reporting for DD India.
All right, now let's bring you some reactions from eminent members of the Christian community after they met Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Prime Minister promotes this idea even more and more and gets from his leadership, percolates down to every Indian. Really, this could make a big difference to our country. Our country could be really the leading country in the world.
Wonderful vision of our Prime Minister, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. At the international stage, our Prime Minister is giving such a leadership and is recognized by the leaders of the world.
The benchmark is constantly being pegged higher.
And that is amazing, not only for our institutions, not only for our students, but for all of India. And if India wins, the world wins.
I believe he has played a very, very pivotal role. I think there are so many changes that have happened that we are all communities, not just the Christian community, are happy to see and have a promise for a better future.
I am surprised, and he is very simple personality, and he is very friendly. He is not a normal person. He is day night he is working.
Gulf countries and all, now we got a very good image of India. We created a very, very, very good image all over the world.
How the Prime Minister actually, after every competition, he himself calling all the athletes and celebrating, and the changes, the support, everything is immense.
प्रधानमंत्री जी कर रहे हैं इस देश के लिए खासकर. It's fantastic. जब लोग खुश हैं तो मतलब देश आगे बढ़ रहा है.
Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership has been magnanimous and throughout the world has created a huge appeal for India.
Prime Minister Modi clearly is a man dedicated to Indians, that all Indians feel as if they're Indians and all feel that they're being served by their government.
पहली बार एक प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने हमारे क्रिश्चियन समूह को या मसीह समूह को ऐसे बुलाया है, तो हमारे लिए बहुत खुशी की बात है.
I see Mr. Modi as such a great, good, kind-hearted human being. The very fact that he volunteered himself to come and mix with everybody, and I think there's not a single person in this entire group of 80 or 90 people who did not have a chance to say a few words to him, and he had many words to tell us.
बहुत ही खुशी की बात है क्योंकि पहली बार जो है हम सब लोग क्रिसमस के दिन जो है प्रधानमंत्री के निमंत्रण पे हम उनके घर में आए हैं और क्रिसमस उनके साथ मना रहे हैं.
So Christmas is being celebrated across the globe today. Christians all over the world celebrate Christmas to mark the birth of Jesus Christ. People decorate their homes by putting up a Christmas tree and exchanging gifts as part of the festivities. DD India's Mihir Maikuri gives you a flavor of the celebrations around the world.
People donned Santa caps on beaches, ski slopes and streets around the globe on Monday to celebrate Christmas. Hundreds of surfing Santas and a few elves took to the waves for the annual Surfing Santa Day on Florida's Cocoa Beach. Participants and spectators enjoyed live music, a costume contest, and of course watched the surfing Santas ride the waves.
My favorite thing is this, it's just this small town feel, that it's the gathering of people from near and far, seeing familiar faces, and everyone that you see is happy to see you. So, I mean, it's high fives, it's hugs, it's pictures, it's all the good vibes of Christmas.
In Italy, a drone video showed Italian fire brigades marking Christmas with a dazzling display of lights and sirens. The brief but dazzling celebration included a crane lifting a cage of light. In the United Kingdom, Britain's King Charles III and members of the royal family attended a Christmas service on Monday at St. Mary Magdalene's Church. Meanwhile, a hailstorm brought White Christmas to Australia's New South Wales state. And on Australia's iconic Bondi Beach, the threat of wild weather wasn't enough to turn away crowds celebrating Christmas. Volunteer lifeguards wearing Santa hats kept a watchful eye over beachgoers who soaked up the hot weather and posed for photographs.
For Christmas, we're all here, so absolutely amazing. No presents, but got these great blokes, so we're laughing.
Amidst the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict, Christian worshippers attended a Christmas Mass at the Church of Nativity in the West Bank town of Bethlehem. The Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem led the service in the town revered by Christians as Jesus' place of birth. In his Christmas Day message, Pope Francis called the October 7 attack on Israel by Hamas terrorists abominable.
Wait, come in Israel and Palestine, where war is devastating the lives of those people. I embrace them all, particularly in the Christian communities of Gaza, the parish of Gaza, and the entire Holy Land. My heart grieves for those victims of the abominable attack of October 7 last. I reiterate my urgent appeal for the liberation of those still being held hostage.
While Ukrainian faithfuls attended a Christmas morning service in Kiev's St. Sophia Cathedral, Most Ukrainians are Orthodox Christians, and the country's main church agreed this year to move away from the traditional Julian calendar, which is used in Russia and celebrates Christmas on the 7th of January.
I am very grateful to fate for this possibility to celebrate Christmas with the whole world. I am genuinely happy this happened. Today I feel that all Ukrainians, including those who passed away, are celebrating this grand holiday with us.
Christmas is celebrated on the 25th of December every year to observe the birth of Jesus Christ, whom Christians believe is the Son of God. Mihir Makri, DD India.
As the world celebrates Christmas today, we bring you a glimpse of the diverse and vibrant celebrations taking place across India. The city of Patna was adorned with twinkling lights and festive decorations. The Queen of Apostles Church in Patna welcomed visitors and worshippers on this joyous day. In the northeastern state of Mizoram, the city of Aizawl is aglow with the spirit of Christmas. Colorful lights illuminate the streets as families gather for midnight mass and community feasts. In the country's capital, New Delhi, the Cathedral Church of the Redemption is a sight to behold. It welcomed visitors and worshippers alike. Its interiors are resplendent with festive colors, candles, and meticulously decorated Christmas trees. Still to come on DD India News Hour. India's Minister of External Affairs, Subramaniam Jaishankar, is in Moscow on a 5-day visit to Russia. President Alexander Vučić of Serbia urges opposition leaders to end their hunger strike. And a flight carrying Indian nationals that was grounded in France is allowed to fly out of Paris to land in the Indian city of Mumbai.
Year 2023 can best be described as an year filled with excitement, challenges and accomplishments in the world of sports, both for India and the world. All this and lots more in our special Sports at the Rate 2023 flashback in our program called Game Changers.
In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. India's Minister of External Affairs, S. Jaishankar, is in Moscow on a 5-day visit to Russia. Minister Jaishankar will call on Russia's Deputy Prime Minister and hold talks with his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov. Minister Jaishankar posted a message on X about his ongoing visit to Russia and the time-tested relationship between the two countries. And now to the Russia-Ukraine conflict, where the two sides pressed on with their military operations on Sunday, striking each other's military targets, including weapon depots, fighter jets and drones, this according to official briefings from the two countries. Russian-installed officials in the eastern town of Horlivka said that one person was killed in result of Kyiv's shelling, while Ukrainian side tells Russian attacks killed 5 civilians. Meanwhile, Russia's Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu on Monday said that Russian forces have gained full control of Marinka, a town in eastern Ukraine. And joining me from Moscow is my colleague Dasha Chernyshova. Dasha, what more can you tell us about the Indian minister's ongoing visit to Russia, and how does the Kremlin in particular look at Russia's ties with India?
Well, indeed, the visit by Jaishankar to Russia will last for 5 days. He will be in Russia until the 29th of December. He posted a picture of him being in the Russian capital already, where he will be holding the negotiations with the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov to talk about the bilateral relations, regional affairs, as well as international affairs. And also he will be meeting Denis Manturov, the Russian minister who is responsible for industry and trade, just to underline how important is the scope of relationship between Moscow and New Delhi, with Russia seeking to diversify and beef up relations with the so-called friendly states, unlike the unfriendly countries of the West. So for Moscow, obviously, the relationship with India is important. Moscow wants to strengthen the ties, to extend the scope of where the sides are cooperating, and especially when it comes to trade, we understand that is growing. We have heard before the Russian officials saying that the trade turnover is increasing and will increase even further.
Indeed, and coming now to the Ukraine-Russia conflict, Dasha, reports say that Russia and Ukraine both are striking each other's military targets. What's the latest you can share with our viewers?
Well, the latest is obviously the reports from the Minister of Russia of Defense of the Russian Federation, Sergei Shoigu, reporting to the Russian president in St. Petersburg that the Russian troops have taken full control of Mariinka in Donetsk People's Republic. Now, this is a significant development because since 2014, the Ukrainian armed forces have been building their defense lines along that position in Mariinka. So the Russian president has said that after Russian troops have seized this territory, they do have an opportunity for wider maneuver in the area, because those defenses by Ukraine are now under the Russian control. So we have heard that there have been many fighters, many soldiers who will be awarded with the state award after these developments. But at the moment, that is probably the most important highlight, as we have heard the results of the meeting between the Russian president and the Russian Minister of Defense in St. Petersburg.
All right, we'll leave it at that, Dasha. Thank you. That was Dasha Chernyshova reporting from Moscow. And staying in Europe, President Alexander Vučić of Serbia has urged a group of opposition leaders to stop their hunger strike a week after the country's ruling Serbian Progressive Party won the parliamentary election. 5 opposition leaders have been on a hunger strike since 18th December. The opposition alleged major election law violations in Belgrade city parliament races, including voter registration fraud, bribery and rigging, and demanded it be rerun.
To all those who are on a hunger strike, I would like to ask that they all end their hunger strike, since, honestly, elections were not called at the time because, despite their lack of legitimacy, we had really won the elections, and they had lost by a margin of 2-1. They didn't really care, and it is a significant difference if compared to the present situation. So let them return to their duties. They can organize protests every day.
Meanwhile, thousands gathered in Serbia's capital Belgrade in an anti-government protest which turned into violent clashes with the riot police. Protesters hurled stones at Belgrade City Hall, demanding annulment of the parliamentary and local elections. Police fired pepper spray after a crowd tried to break in the Belgrade City Hall, where the local election commission is based. Some of the protesters climbed the building and broke windows. Earlier, international monitoring missions said that the ruling party gained an unfair advantage in the snap parliamentary elections through media bias, the improper influence of President Alexander Vučić, and also voting irregularities such as vote buying. And Moscow has reacted on Serbia protests, saying that foreign-backed forces were trying to foment unrest in Serbia over parliamentary and local elections. The Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson said on Monday the attempts of the collective West to destabilize the situation in the country are obvious. Earlier, the Kremlin had welcomed election results in Serbia, saying Moscow hoped they would lead to the further strengthening of friendship between the two countries. To West Asia now, Monday is day 80 of the Israel-Hamas conflict. Plumes of smoke billowed over Gaza as Israel fought to wrest full control of the northern part of the enclave from Hamas. On its border with Lebanon, Israel's army carried out airstrikes against Hezbollah on Monday. The Israeli forces said the sites included military buildings and infrastructure belonging to the terror group. Meanwhile, as Gazans struggle to look after the ill or injured, Jordan's Air Force airdropped aid on Sunday for a Christian church in Gaza. As per a statement released by the Jordanian Armed Forces, the aid delivery on Christmas Eve was said to contain food and other items for the Christian community in the Gaza Strip. And now to an update on a flight carrying Indian nationals that was grounded in France. Sources said that the flight would land in the Indian city of Mumbai at 11:30 p.m. local time. A few people had been detained, but the remaining passengers on the flight have been deported to India. And the Indian Embassy in France put out a post on X thanking the French government and Vatry Airport for a quick resolution of the situation, enabling Indian passengers to return home and for their hospitality. Also for working closely with embassy team present throughout at the site to ensure welfare and smooth and safe return, besides thanking the agencies in India as well. Still to come on DD India News Hour. A discussion on India celebrating the birth anniversary of the country's late Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee as Good Governance Day. Preparations on for the inauguration of a Hindu temple at Ayodhya in the northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. And India's Education Minister leads the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra at Dhenkanal in the eastern state of Odisha.
India's huge leaps towards becoming self-reliant in defense sector. Policy changes enabling increased involvement of private sector. From humanitarian assistance to rescue operations. Increased synergy among armed forces through joint military exercises. Watch Echoes 2023, India's Defenders at these times only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. A quick recap of the headlines. India celebrates Good Governance Day, coinciding with the 99th birth anniversary of the late Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. India's Minister of External Affairs, Subramaniam Jaishankar, is in Moscow on a 5-day visit to Russia for talks on bilateral and global issues. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi greets people on Christmas, recalls the teachings of Jesus Christ, interacts with the Christian community in New Delhi. President Ranil Wickremesinghe of Sri Lanka has granted amnesty to more than 1,000 convicts and released them from jails across the country to mark Christmas. Among the 1,004 freed on Monday were Sri Lankans jailed for not being able to pay outstanding fines. In some more news from Asia, amidst a standoff between China and the Philippines in the West Philippine Sea, Beijing said it will not weaken its resolve to protect its territorial sovereignty and maritime rights and interests. A spokesperson of China's Foreign Ministry, Mao Ning, said China was ready to work with the Philippines to properly handle maritime issues through negotiation and consultation. The remarks followed a commentary published by Chinese state media on Monday, which said that the Philippines had relied on U.S. support to continually provoke China with such behavior seriously harming regional peace and stability. Right, going back to the top story, India celebrating Good Governance Day, coinciding with the 99th birth anniversary of the country's late Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Joining me is Mr. Prafull Ketkar. Mr. Ketkar is the editor of Organizer Weekly. Mr. Ketkar, welcome to DD India News Up. First up, I want to ask you, how do you view 10 years of India celebrating Good Governance Day?
See, Ramesh, in 2014, when this idea was instituted to commemorate 25th December, former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee's birthday as Good Governance Day, there were many critics, there were many, skeptics about this. But what we have seen, two clear-cut things. One, as far as the, governance-related parameters and the legacy that was set by Mr. Vajpayee, that is definitely taken forward. The way, for instance, I would like to make two important, reminders. One, about infrastructure.
Right.
Atalji was the first Prime Minister who realized the importance of connectivity and who actually set the targeted process for connecting all the corners of India, not just through highways, but even for the rural infrastructure. And now if we see in the last 10 years since we started Good Governance Day, we see a phenomenal advancement in that direction. Again, Mr. Vajpayee's era, we started this schemes related to education or health. So last mile delivery was one of the key objectives of his idea of governance. Now, if we see the way, this government is now trying to use technology, the way, entire administration is being trained for that.
Right.
And things are delivered from food to health services, how they are delivered on the ground. That I think is the best, you cannot have a best kind of tribute to your leader by taking his ideas forward.
Mr. Ketkar, what you just said just now about technology gives me a perfect segue to my next question. But before that, let me just take a moment to quote what Prime Minister Modi said way back in 2014 when he launched the maiden Good Governance Day. He said, and I'm quoting him, "I strongly believe that technology can and must bridge the divide between the government and the citizens. Technology is an empowering tool for the citizen and an accountability medium for the government," unquote. Now, do you think the Good Governance Day over the last 10 years has succeeded in inculcating a culture of transparency and accountability in the way government functions?
Absolutely. See, not just in India, all over the world, accountability, transparency, participation, and delivery.
Right.
These are broadly considered as the good governance parameters. Now, if you see what we have done, if we have taken, millions of gas cylinders, delivered to households, or households are delivered to millions of families, or drinking water taps are now reached to reaching to each and every household, or electricity supply is ensured to each and every household and village. Now, these are remarkable achievements, but how did we achieve that?
Right.
Ramesh, I got the Integrated Government Officers Training Program and the Pragati.
Right.
The mechanism to actually assess the performance of each and every department, and if there is any skill gap as far as the delivery is concerned, then that somewhere that skill gap has to be bridged, and for that some training has to be. Now that training every time cannot be physical,
right?
So there is also a technological platform available for that. So if we see all these things at one click, if we can actually track how many villages, how many households are actually now electrified, that is basic parameter of transparency. And now because this is transparent, the concerned officer or politician or whoever is the person is accountable.
Absolutely true.
So and the beauty of this is that besides transparency and accountability, on many fronts, it is the Prime Minister taking it forward that he tried to make many of these programs and schemes more participatory.
Right.
So they have become mass movement. Even Good Governance Day, for that matter, when Good Governance Week is celebrated just before 25th of December, many programs are organized. People are made aware of what they can ask for, what is their right, how accountability and transparency can be ensured in the entire government system. So this is also a kind of sensitization program for the larger masses. That again is very important, because just being accountable and transparent is not sufficient.
Right.
But being the people ultimately who are the beneficiaries of this transparency and accountability should be sensitized enough about all these processes.
Absolutely. Also, Mr. Kedkar, in the last 10 years, India has made rapid strides in harnessing technology for the benefit of the common person or the common people. Some would say India's digital public infrastructure is a role model for the world. So my question to you is this: can the world learn from India's successes in digital public infrastructure?
Oh, certainly. The way we have 2-3 areas we can definitely, and the world is already learning. Our UPI is the classic example of this.
Right.
Already 17 countries have adapted UPI, and there are 16 or 17 who are ready to go ahead with it. So it is going to be, and the kind of transactions that we are having, the volume that we are having, it is unimaginable anywhere in the world. And that is also with a very light technology and still very effective and secure technology.
Right.
So this is one part that the world can definitely learn from India. Two, when it comes to bringing transparency in justice delivery system. Now, for example, most of the dates, judgments, the way hearings are taking place online, and now with new laws, the way we are moving ahead for a very effective justice delivery system with the help of technology.
Right.
You can register an FIR wherever you are. Your zero FIR can be transferred within a few weeks, and then the police department has a mandatory role to file the charge sheet. Judiciary has a mandatory role to deliver justice. So if we, I have already, mentioned about the delivery of public goods.
Right.
We have shown that during COVID, even CoWIN app. CoWIN app is such a wonderful example, not just of using technology for delivery of vaccines, but also making that available immediately then and there, the certification process. And the beauty of it is Ramesh, when many of the countries, especially in Africa, needed it, we never fought on or charged them in the name of patents.
Right.
Again, India is showing it differently, that we just don't say Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Our idea for global governance are also different.
Absolutely.
Though we believe in basic principles of good governance, which are applicable everywhere, we still have a different worldview, which is more inclusive, which is not just based on self-interest and profiteering, but ultimately wherever and whenever it is possible, we would always strive for Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina.
Indeed.
That is the happiness for all.
What you say, Mr. Ketkar, remind me of Prime Minister Modi's mantra of developed in India for the world. Now, let me ask you one final question. If you can talk to our viewers as well about the life and legacy of the late Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Any anecdotes you want to share with our viewers?
Oh, there are many. But, perhaps one that I cherish the most, when he had to resign after a short duration of 13 days of government, and he could not muster the majority on the floor of the house. What he said, that Sarkari aayingi, jayengi, partiya banegi, bigdegi. That means the governments will come and go, parties will be formed and decimated. What is important is that this country should be alive, the democracy of this country should be alive. He inherently believed that Bharat, India is not just a country, it's an idea based on the principles of democratic values. And therefore, for that, he always stood for. And that is, I know, actually made, after remaining in for almost 40 years in opposition, consistently, he rose to the position of Prime Minister. And that shows the kind of faith he had in the process of democracy. And he actually shown to the world, because if Congress was the system after independence, it was the thought process of Jana Sangha, and now BJP actually gave the alternative to the traditional Congress thought process. So, and without strong opposition and clear-cut alternative model of thinking, you cannot have a vibrant democracy. And Mr. Vajpayee stood for that. Another aspect of good governance is responsible and strong. Both responsible and strong opposition. So when needed, he was a responsible and strong opposition. When needed, he was a strong and still humble, actually ruling leader. That differentiated, Atalji from many other leaders, I believe.
All right. On that note, may I thank you, Mr. Ketkar, for joining us and sharing your thoughts and views with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated. Right, in some more news from India, Indian Army Chief General Manoj Pandey on Monday visited Poonch and conducted a review of the Rajouri-Poonch sector, focusing on ongoing counter-terrorism efforts and reinforcing the security grid. The visit follows a terrorist attack on 2 army vehicles last Thursday, resulting in the sacrifice of 4 soldiers. General Pandey interacted with ground commanders, urging a professional and resolute approach against all challenges. Preparations are in the final stage for the inauguration of Ram Temple at Ayodhya in the northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. Ahead of Pran Pratishtha Mahotsav, or the Dignity of Life Festival at Ayodhya, the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirath Kshetra Trust released photographs showing the current status of the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Temple construction work. The grand inauguration is scheduled to take place on 22nd of January. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla visited Haridwar on Monday, where they were welcomed by Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami. They attended the Divine Spirituality Festival in the town. Minister Singh said that saints have an important contribution to uplifting the nation. He said it is the job of the saints to see whether Raj Dharma, which means the duty of the king in Hindi, is properly practiced or not. The army protects the country's borders, but the protection of culture, he says, is in the hands of the saints. People attending the Kashi Tamil Sangamam, which aims to unite the cultures of southern and northern India, reached the holy confluence of the Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati rivers at Prayagraj in the North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. The participants were given a grand welcome. School students of Prayagraj presented a colorful cultural program as well. The Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra is being undertaken across the country with the aim to attain saturation of flagship schemes of the government through ensuring that the benefits of these schemes reach all targeted beneficiaries in a time-bound manner. The chairperson of Haryana Land Reclamation and Development Corporation, Jagdish Nair, attended the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra in Palwal city of the Indian state of Haryana as the chief guest. He spoke about Prime Minister Modi's efforts to strengthen India economically through the means of Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra. The IEC vans also made the public aware of national government schemes and their benefits for the public. And staying on with some more news on the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra, India's Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan was warmly welcomed by the huge crowds gathered at a village in the Dhenkanal district of the eastern state of Odisha for the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra event held there. The information, education and communication vans spread the information of central government schemes and their benefits to the people. Several cities across northern India were shrouded in a thick layer of fog early amid cold weather on Monday. Video footage showed streets in Srinagar, Amritsar and the country's capital, New Delhi, with heavily reduced visibility. As per India's meteorological department, dense fog was likely to persist over parts of northwestern and central India over the next 3 to 4 days. And still to come on DD India News Hour. India to play its first test in 5 months against South Africa at Centurion on Tuesday. And India's Women's Selection Committee announces the squad for 3 ODIs and T20Is each against Australia.
Year 2023 can best be described as an year filled with excitement, challenges and accomplishments in the world of sports, both for India and the world. All this and lots more in our special Sports at the Rate 2023 flashback in our program called Game Changers.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. And now to sports news. India will play their first test in 5 months against South Africa at Centurion on Tuesday. Virat Kohli is back in the Indian squad, but lack of practice could be a concern for the team. Here's a preview of the match.
Team India is all set to face Team South Africa in 2-match test series that will take place in Centurion. The first test will be played on the Boxing Day, and in much relief for Team India, Virat Kohli is back in the squad. With sharp focus on 2025 WTC final, Team India is mentally moving away from the World Cup heartbreak and practicing hard to beat South Africa in their home ground. However, the head-to-head tells a different story between the two. In tests, South Africa leads the overall head-to-head record against India with 17 wins and 15 defeats in 42 matches. South Africa also recorded a 2-1 series win when both teams last clashed against each other 2 years ago. Whereas at home, South Africa have a stunning record against the Indian team with 12 wins in 23 test matches and have suffered only 4 defeats so far. India's last test win in South Africa came in during the Boxing Day clash in 2021 under Virat Kohli's captaincy. However, when we talk about Team South Africa's current form, then this South African side lack experience and quality with bat and ball, and their top 6 in particular can be brittle. They can also face late fitness tests for key fast bowlers Kagiso Rabada and Lungi Ngidi, who could be handful on what is expected to be a lively Centurion Park pitch in the first test. The man to be in the spotlight is outgoing batter Dean Elgar, who will be playing the last 2 tests of his career. He is one of only 3 South African batters with an average of more than 30. With Team India coming on the test field to play their first red ball game in 5 months, Rohit Sharma-led team will have a new challenge in front of themselves.
In some more cricket news, India's Women's Selection Committee has announced squads for the upcoming 3 ODIs and 3 T20Is against Australia. The 3-match ODI series will be played at the Wankhede Stadium on 28th December. The next 2 ODIs will be played on 30th December and 2nd of January. The action will then shift to D.Y. Patil, Navi Mumbai, which will host 3 T20Is on 5th, 7th and 9th January. The ODI and T20I squad will be led by Harmanpreet Kaur, whereas Smriti Mandhana will be the vice-captain for both formats. Harleen Deol gets a place in the ODI squad, whereas Kanika Ahuja and Minnu Mani would be a part of the T20I squad against the Australian women. Mumbai Khiladis will continue their hunt for the maiden win in the 2nd edition of Ultimate Kho-Kho when they clash with Gujarat Giants in the Indian state of Odisha. Defending champions Odisha Juggernauts will aim to continue their winning run against Chennai Quick Guns in their 2nd match on Tuesday in Cuttack. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of DD India News Hour. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also check out our website ddindia.co.in. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Ramesh Ramachandran. From all of us here in New Delhi, a Merry Christmas to all those celebrating it around the world. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.